You doing your intro now?
You can do it.
Okay, cool. Get up then.
Yeah, you can do it.
Let's do it. Alright. What was it again?
Hey, girls.
Welcome back to my channel. Okay, cool.
Ready?
So you doing your left hand, I'll do my right hand.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Hey, homegirls. Welcome back to my channel.
What an absolute queen. Hey, homegirls. Period.
Hey, homegirls.
This is my boyfriend.
Hi, guys.
This is Naz. We've been dating for a year now. Today's our year anniversary.
Ooh.
Well, we've been talking for longer than a year, but he
yeah.
had the guts to finally ask me out a year ago.
Yeah, I mean,
After
it could have been a bit quicker, but yeah.
Sorry.
Special times.
I just wanted to introduce Naz to my channel. This is him.
Here I am.
He's handsomer than you thought, I bet.
Oh gosh.
So we're just going to answer you guys' questions I asked on YouTube community and Instagram. Just like questions about us as a whole, our relationship, and then also about Christian dating in general. We'll probably do more videos as the time goes on into like more topics. Like there was one question that kept coming up about boundaries, which we'll kind of answer here.
Yeah.
But I think that deserves its own video. Why we're waiting for marriage in its own video.
I mean, I'm not going anywhere, so you'll see me more, hopefully.
Yeah. We'll start off with the how we met, because everyone was asking that, like, how did we meet? Can you tell like you guys' love story?
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a good way to start.
Yeah. I mean,
do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. I mean, we won't give the whole story thing because that could be its own video in itself. But I guess come to the point of actually starting to date. But yeah. So.
Don't say date, Christian, say courting.
Courting. Sorry, guys.
Girl, don't get me started.
But yeah, saw you on TikTok. Saw a few videos on there. It's like, yeah, solid content. Obviously, I thought she was a pretty girl, but I mean, there are lots of pretty girls. I was like, okay, cool. Let me actually just see how that goes. So I actually just gave a follow back because I loved the content. But then went off onto like big social media for us for like the next 2 months up until Easter. This is February 2021, and then came back. And you'd follow me on Instagram, and I gave you a follow back from that.
Was it me that liked your video first, and then you saw me and followed me?
I think so, yeah.
And what the joke thing is that I look back at my memories now, and I was posting like his videos on my private story on Snap of like things that he like good things he was saying, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this guy is so cool. But, like not like even thinking anything of it. Like I wasn't like crushing on him. Like I thought he was handsome, but like I wasn't crushing on you silently or like stalking you.
Yeah.
But like. Then as I kept seeing more of your videos, I was like, he's actually kind of cute. So I went and followed him on Instagram. We didn't follow you back until he like got back off of his like social media fast. But then I swept up on your story on Instagram. Yeah. And that's how we started speaking. It was like it was about Black Lives Matter or something. I feel like I remember that.
No, I think that was probably like one of the early conversations, but a bit of a later one. The first one was about, obviously, if you guys follow me on Insta, I post my daily devotionals generally.
I remember that, and then we had a little voice note conversation about what we're doing. You asked me if I'm in uni or not.
Yeah.
And then the conversation like fizzled, but then I started upon that
Black Lives Matter thing, and then that kicked off for a long
conversation. And then that kicked off a long conversation.
And then I think it stopped from that point. Yeah, it's still a long conversation.
It just turned into like loads of voice notes, loads of messages. I think for about like maybe 2 weeks or something.
2 weeks about, and then after that point, it was just a case of.
And he was digging quite. Like, you were good at asking questions about me without really asking.
It was just general good conversation, innit? And like
it was a good digging.
It was quite refreshing to see a woman of God who was just very bold in her faith and sharing her opinions and stuff. You were very involved within the conversations, and I was obviously like you knew your word. So yeah, that was really good to see. It was like quite nice, yeah.
That just continued for a while, and then I got him to watch a movie with me. That was my first like
little move. Yeah.
We were talking about anime, and there's this one anime movie that I love, and I was like, "Oh, do you want to watch it with me, like on Netflix party?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And then we just like kept talking after that because we were sending like 10 voice notes at a time. Yeah. It was a lot to get through. So he said, like, do you think we should talk on the phone, like, about it more?
Might have been a little bit of a move for me, I don't know, but guys.
Right. Yeah. I don't even know what we were talking about, but it turned into a 6-hour conversation. We got on the phone at like 11 or 10. and got off the phone at like 4 or 5 a.m.
Yeah, it was actually like
it was like getting light in the morning.
Yeah.
Birds were chirping and all.
Crazy.
But then he hurt me a little bit because he said the morning after, "Can't be doing that again. Only could do that with my babes." And I was like,
I mean, it's true though, isn't it? Like I had to make sure that in case
that was a bit.
it's a jerky thing, obviously, because I liked you, but like just I think I had to just make it known, like I don't just do that. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not on the phone with anybody. So even in a case of like.
You know, I think after that phone call, I realised, like, I liked him, but I was still, like, digging a little bit, because he lives in London, if you don't know. I live in Bristol. So it's, like, 2.5 hours away. I'd never met this guy in my life. I'd only known him for, like, a few weeks, so I'm not going to, like, jump into, like, being head over heels in love with him. I definitely liked him, and I thought he was different. And I remember praying one day, we were having a conversation, I was sat on my desk, and I got in the shower and I prayed and I was like, God, I really like this boy, but I just thank you that there's even a guy like him that exists. And like, whoever marries him is blessed. And I also said, if he's not for me, take him out of my life ASAP, because I'm not about to like fall in love and it not be for me.
No wasting time, guys. You got to pray those prayers.
So that was nice that it started off. It was just friendly, and it just escalated as time went on.
That's the thing. Of course, like, you know, it's not saying your conversation has to be dry, and like you can't, like, you guess sort of give little cues that you like someone, but it's friendly, isn't it? It's just you're just general trying to get to know each other, isn't it?
Because really and truly, like, we wouldn't be where we were now if it was just purely lovey-dovey combos. Like, we are friends. Like, he's my best friend.
Exactly.
Sorry, Priscilla. Talked on the phone like 2 more times after that or something.
Yeah.
And then
arranged to meet on the 10th.
We had a FaceTime.
That was on the 3rd, yeah.
Yeah, our first FaceTime. And then I arranged to see him in London.
Yeah.
I actually arranged to see a few people, but like it so happened that everyone else was busy and only one other friend was free. So I spent like the whole, 4 days with you.
Yeah.
And didn't stay at his house, we'll get on to that.
Yeah.
He picked me up at the coach station and took me on a date. It was the sweetest date ever.
It was nice.
He took me to... he actually redid our first date the other day.
Yeah.
That was the sweetest thing. So he took me to, mini golf, and then we went out to eat, and then we walked around, and then we had our first kiss.
It was nice. It was sweet. It wasn't weird or anything like that.
We were both kind of going into it just sussing each other out, because
you
can talk to someone online and it just be good vibes.
Yeah.
But then when you meet in person, it could be the complete opposite. And I wanted to know that you had that same energy.
Yeah, and of course, like, I don't say, oh yeah, everybody kiss on the first date, because I'll be honest, the reason why she went in first is because I was like, me being the guy in it, I didn't want to think that I'm just here just to be, just to be physical in it, you get me?
That's true.
So I was like, I'll be completely fine not kissing on this first date, just to let her know that where I stand, like, I just like being with you, being around you. So obviously she approached me first. I was like, okay, cool. At least like I allowed her to make that move, so she knows that in the case of that I respect her in that way, and I still do. But yeah.
That's
Nice.
From that point on, it's just been one of us travelling up or down. And then basically just been FaceTiming. Like, our relationship has actually flourished from FaceTime, which is weird, but it has its perks for sure, and we'll probably talk about that another day.
Another video, yeah.
It's been hard.
Yeah.
We went 2 months the other day without seeing each other.
Yeah.
Which
Finished
was
uni now though,
hard,
so,
but I'm grateful for us actually building a relationship that wasn't physical. Like, yes, I like being in the flesh, so I can't hold his hand on FaceTime, but we can still get to know each other, have long conversations.
Not sustainable, but obviously in the way that we're going, it's doable. It's able to be done. That was quite big.
Yeah, we might as well answer the boundaries question now. A lot of you guys were asking, like, how do you set boundaries? Do you talk about your boundaries? Any tips on staying celibate / resisting sexual temptations? How do you wait patiently for marriage? The whole shebang.
Yeah.
I guess we'll kick it off with saying that we are waiting till marriage.
Yeah, it's not common. It's not a common thing, even within Christian communities. And it's not by any means easy. I don't mean to judge anyone at all, because it's not. But it's only by His grace. But it's something which we know it's biblical. It's not sort of like a little,
New
if you want
thing.
to, it's like, no, it's instruction. It is a command.
And we've also learn why we should do it. Like, we don't just, it's not just don't press a big red button, but we don't know what the consequences are. Like, we know the consequences, we've been there.
So it's like,
and we want to respect each other and respect our bodies.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a no-brainer for me anyway, before even meeting Naz.
I guess obviously boundaries, obviously like there's like the generic things which I feel like just you as a Christian, we as Christians should be doing regardless of specifics. But obviously then the specifics, I guess I'll list off a couple. Specifics are like, don't touch my ears. Like, weird one, but yeah, don't touch my ears. Like,
you
so
just told me that today, by the way.
Yeah, I should know that today. Generic ones like, you know, inappropriate touching. Like, I'm not gonna go about, you know, gripping up her bum. That's not happening. Or like her, like, you know, touching me in inappropriate places.
Or like him touching my thighs or something. Yeah, we're lovey-dovey. I hold his hand, I cuddle him. But that's just like as far as.
Yeah, it's not a case of like, you know, being fearful and everything like that, but it's a case of we respect him. So just knowing that he's always there and he wants the best for us. So it's a case of like, what would we do if somebody else is watching us? And he is always watching us.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this book that I read by Lisa Bevere. She was talking about how you should never do anything more with your partner that you wouldn't do if your dad was in the room. Which is awkward when you think about it. Because like, I'm not about to make out with Naz in front of my dad. And when I first read it, I was like early Christian, so I was like, oh, the ghetto! I don't know if I want to listen to that.
Basically, you don't want to be doing anything. If somebody was to walk in, you'd be like...
Yeah, that's the thing. We have made the decision to respect each other's bodies, so anything that could be seen as not respecting or at risk for disrespecting, we don't do.
Like, by all means, like, we're not perfect. We're not here to say that we've, you know, you've never not, like, you know, crossed a small boundary. You've not crossed a boundary. I mean, you have to continually, you know, reiterate boundaries to be like, okay, cool, wait a minute, you know, okay, let's recheck this. Okay, let's maybe drop back a bit before from that boundary line.
Someone said, like, do you talk about your boundaries? And I remember when we first talked about our boundaries that I thought this would be the last time we'd have to talk about it.
Yeah, but
this is like our FaceTime before we first met. And like, I'll be real, like when I first met Naz, yes, I liked him, but nothing can compare like a year like ago to now.
Your desire grows, isn't it? And it's healthy. Yeah. That's like, guys, we'll see that more like in a different video, but it's healthy for a sexual desire to grow for your partner. I have a sexual desire for her, but of course, like, you have to be able to control that and be able to surrender that to the Lord.
Yeah, so you have to be able to talk about it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Just
like,
in a healthy way.
We're very candid with each other and talk about a lot of things, not in a way that would tempt one another, but I think we've gotten to a point now where a year down the line, so we have to like have open conversations, otherwise everything in the dark just continues to fester. Like, if we don't bring it to light and one of us is feeling some type of way and we don't say, it will continue to happen. Or like, we go over a boundary and we don't talk about it, it will happen again. Like, we have to talk about it, and it may be awkward, but when we have talked about it, I think we've gotten stronger and
see the benefit
we've been able to continue waiting. And I think if we didn't talk about our relationship in that way, we probably would have fallen into that, because we wouldn't have been able to
properly navigate
it and communicate. Because it's not just like I'm waiting to marriage and Naz waiting to marriage, it's we are waiting to marriage. So how Naz feels about it is just as important as I do, because I'm waiting for him, he's waiting for me, not just like I'm waiting for like some guy somewhere. Out there,
that's the thing. Obviously, like, it's obviously good to have that in mind, set that in place before you get into a relationship. But like, again, you have to constantly remind yourself, because when you're actually in a relationship with someone who you actually love and see yourself marrying, that gets 10 times harder. It's not much more than just saying it.
Yeah.
Like, this is now a case that it's going to be practically lived out. You know, because before that point, you don't necessarily, obviously you might have people, you know, coming about in the place, but you don't necessarily have a person here like, oh my gosh, this is somebody you can actually, you know, be physical with. But you've got to be like, nah, so it's got to be practically walked out when you're actually in that relationship.
Loads of people ask, how did you know you were ready to be together? How did you know he/she was the one? When did you know that you fell in love with me and that you knew that I was the one you were going to be with?
I feel like sometimes we as Christians, we over-spiritualize things so much. We're waiting for God to see, like, you know, put a big red flag outside, not red flag, gosh, a big green flag outside, right on a billboard, yes, or like, oh my gosh, my pastor's going to come to me and tell me, yes, you're going to marry that guy. Like, we're waiting for all these different, like, stop over-spiritualizing it. Like, when you're taking up all these different things, more times it's a case of, is this person actually meant to be the person for you?
Yeah.
If you haven't looked for all these big
Does
signs.
this person actually push you towards
Yeah.
Christ or push you away from Christ?
I think you have to understand, if you're developing a relationship with God, like, He's giving you wisdom. There's people around you, a case of like, you know, family members, people who you can also like, a case of like, you know, speak to them person about and be like, yeah, and there'll probably be some wise counsel in your life also. But like, I guess like that peace, like, comes with it. The peace, the very fact that the way we had started in conversating, and the fact that I was really, you know, asking and praying about you and things like that, without having had, you know, dirty conversation, without having been physical, all these different things. We just a case of just getting to know you and just seeing your faith. We've had conversations about your values, you know, seeing you as a person, straight we're going about things, and the way I'm feeling, I'm like, how am I feeling this way? And none of this has happened. Obviously, it's a case of I have to go and bring this before God, innit? I think another funny thing was also like a case of, this person has to be someone who can be your best friend, innit? And because beforehand when I was being with girls, like, they weren't typically people that I was friends with, innit? Like that. So I think the fact that you were like actually funny, innit? You were jokes. I was like, wait a minute, can a girl be like this, like, you know, this fine, innit? And be funny? I was like, I have a lot of funny friends, innit? But nobody who have actually dated.
You wanted to pursue.
Nobody who have actually pursued. So the very fact, like, you know, somebody who actually wanted to pursue, and they were like literally like funny, literally just like had the same sort of banter, can just conversate so easily. I was like, oh wow, you know, that's crazy. What about you?
You have enriched my relationship with God a lot.
Yeah, exactly that.
I've never had that before. Like, I don't think I've ever been able to go to God and pray about a guy like so openly and so freely. Like, I've prayed about boys and it's been like a very selfish prayer. Like, I would be praying and not including all the reasons why I know that I shouldn't be with them.
Yeah.
It was like, God, please, like, you know, I know he's the right guy, and it's like, God's like, girl. Like, I know that that's not true. Like, I know like he's not for me. But with Naz, I've never had, like, as you said, it was that peace. Like, I've never had an absence of peace when I've been praying about you. And I've been able to go to God about every one of our ups and downs without feeling like God is going to say no.
Yeah.
I could say back in the day that, like, I loved people. I've never, like, this is what true love is, but I've never idolized you. I've idolized them, but that's been out of lust. And I've loved you, but it's been out of God's love.
Yeah, sweet.
Like, in a particular moment, I don't know what moment I knew I fell in love with you. You said it was the second time we met. Like, the second time I came to London.
Second time we came to London. I think it's the case of, like, you can look back and be like, yeah, I loved her then. But I think in terms of actually it clicking in, I'd never said I love you before, and, you know, never actually be in a serious relationship like that before. And if I was going to be with someone and date them again from the last time I'd been with someone, I was like, I'm not doing that unless I know I'm going to marry this person. So I was a lot more sort of like, with it, which is why it took a bit longer.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm happy, obviously. I did when I did.
Yeah, I think when I knew I'd remember now was when I could cry thinking about it. I'm not going to get emotional in this video, that's so ugly. When you dropped me off at the coach station the first time we met, like at the end of our trip, and you gave me your hoodie.
Yeah.
It was cute.
It's still in the wardrobe.
Yeah, I haven't given it back yet.
After a whole year.
I got on the coach and I put on Pieces by Bethel Music, and I just felt the Holy Spirit hit me like so deep. There was like, I felt like you were a gift to me.
No.
Like, that's how I felt. Like, I'd never had like such a pure, God-fearing person in my life. Like, that I actually felt like God had given me. I just looked over my whole life and all the relationships that I'd had, and you just were nothing like that.
Yeah.
And you completed me without filling me up, if that makes sense. Like, it felt like I knew you forever.
Yeah.
But I wasn't obsessed with you to the point of like being unhealthy.
Yeah, nah.
So, yeah, I bawled my eyes out on that coach home because I think I realised how much I loved you. But I obviously couldn't put that into words at that point.
Yeah. That's sweet. Should we do a quick fire round?
Sure. How do you guys spend time with God together?
I'd say at first there was a lot of devotionals that we were doing. Bible app, they're great. So, have a look through there. We've been doing the 101 questions, as we mentioned before.
We can't have one conversation without talking about God.
It's not forced. Yeah, it's just a case of like, we can just be too much generic and just go into it.
And we learn so many things from each other. So it's not even just to sit down Bible study moments that we spend time with God. It's every time that we spend time with one another, we're committing that time to God. We're glorifying Him by having fun.
Yeah.
Dealing with insecurities in a relationship.
Ooh, that's
deep.
That's a deep one.
We'll probably have to go into that
one for another time, innit? But what, do you want to say anything quickly?
I would say I remember listening to this sermon by Sarah Jakes Roberts and Teray, her husband, and they were talking about how like in a relationship all these things come up. You get faced with so many things that you never thought that you get faced with. And that definitely, I'd say that happened to me more than you. Just because of like things in my past. You guys already know about, but like in relation to Naz, I had to accept that he accepted me. That was the hardest thing. I'd
say, of course, like me reassuring her, but it's like I'm not reassuring her out of like my own words.
No.
Of course, I give see my words, of course, but in terms of like I have to wash scripture over, the word of God over her, because in the day that's what stands.
How to overcome idolizing your relationship over God.
Yeah.
First of all, I would say if you're idolizing your relationship, you have to maybe think about whether that's the right relationship for you.
Yeah.
If you're single and you're worried about that happening, then you have like, I guess, more time to think about it. But I'm not saying you can ever not fall into idolizing each other.
It's happened. Yeah,
you can. I think without knowing it, we probably leaned on each other way too much to the point of idolatry. But I would never say our relationship as a whole, when I look over it, has been idolatrous. And if you feel like when you look over your relationship that is the case,
you have to
you're going to have to check yourself and your partner, and if they should be your partner, because the reason why I've never idolized my relationship with Naz is because I've had my relationship with God, and Naz has constantly pushed me back to that. It only worked because we were both on the same page.
It all comes back to the basics from the foundation. Don't overlook stuff from the beginning. And yeah, I think that's just the quickest way to answer that.
There's a lot of questions that I think we want to answer, but we will do a part 2 on Naz's channel.
Yeah, so make sure to head over to that.
So head over to his channel to see part 2 and subscribe. He's going to be posting more videos soon. If you're a guy, I know like I have mostly girls following me, but like if you're a guy, he's definitely a solid person to watch. And he's funny, and he's just entertaining. So
I appreciate you.
It's okay. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more videos of me and Naz, let me know, and we probably will go into more detail like of the questions that we answered. So if there's one in particular that you want a dedicated video on, leave it in the comment section. But yeah, that is it.
That is it.
Love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and head over to Naz's video for part 2.
Yeah.
See you guys. Bye.